Hello friends, myself Dr. M. K. Gopru, Department Mathematics, Government College Ajmer. Till now, we defined subgroups and proved some related theorems of it. Today we are going to discuss three important definitions, theorems, question, whatever you may call it them. One, I am defining three different type of sets which are subgroups. One, G is a group. G, this is your group, and say it contains procedure will be almost similar. These are the elements of the group, and we want to define center of the group. What is center of the group? It is a set, say, let me call it H. H. This is a set, it contains the element X such that X belongs to G. This is an element of G. These are such elements which, say, G is any element of this one. This is arbitrary element. G is an arbitrary element of G. Means this may be G, this may be, this any element of G is represented as G. Then Xg is Gx. For all G belongs to G. Means we have a set H whose elements are such that which can commute each and every element of G, then this will be a set, and finally this set will be a subgroup. We need to prove it is a subgroup, and this subgroup is known as center of the group. Means let us suppose X, this is an element which commute with this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. Every element of G, this element commutes. Means this is a member of H. This is another element which commute with this element, which commute with this element, which commute with this element, but does not commute with this element. Means this element will not be a part of this H. So this H contains only those elements which can commute with each and every element. Then this is known as a set which we will prove as a subgroup, and this subgroup is known as center of the group. Now, first of all, let us start with this. In all three theorems that I am taking today, we should prove in this steps. First of all, whether this H contains some element or not. So let us start with E is an element of G, and E is commute with every element of G. E is an element belongs to G, and E is an element which commute with every element of G. Therefore, E belongs to H. Means E is a member of this set. Again, since E contains in this, so H is not a non-void. H is non-void. means it contains some elements. Let us suppose x belongs to H, y belongs to H. These are two elements, and if x and y are the member of this element, this set, then naturally with this property x operation g is equal to g operation x for all g. This is for all g belongs to g, and y g is equal to z y for all g belongs to g, since x and y are two elements of this set. Therefore, we have these two results. Now, our target is to prove H is a subgroup. It means we want to prove that x belongs to H, y belongs to H. If we are able to prove x, y inverse belongs to H, then H will be a subgroup. In this way, we can say this is a subgroup. So, our target is to prove x, y inverse belongs to H. And this I can, if this is a member of, it means our target is to prove this one. And if this is a member of this one, then naturally we should prove g x y inverse g is equal to g x y inverse. This is our target. If we are able to prove this one, naturally this element belongs to H. So this is our target. How can we start from here? Let us start with X. With any one of this, we can start. Say y belongs to H and yg is equal to g y. Here I can use a simple result, operate it with y inverse in left and right, y g y inverse is equal to y inverse operation g y inverse. So what happens? I am using straightforward this result. So what happens? This becomes E G y inverse G E, and y E is nothing but EG is nothing but G, this, and y inverse and y G. Where is G? Y inverse G. This is your G, and y inverse is your E. Y inverse and G, and this shows that y inverse is an element of, this result shows that y inverse is an element of H. So now we prove that y inverse belongs to H, and we already know x belongs to H, y inverse belongs to H. Then what we need to do? X, our target is to prove this one, x y inverse operation G. It means we have to involve x somewhere. So I can use here this result, x y inverse. I will write here xg, x for x belongs to H, xg is equal to g x, and we need y inverse here. So I can make an operation on right side with y inverse. Here, operation with y inverse on right side. So this gives us x operation g y inverse is equal to g operation x y inverse. Naturally, I can see here that this is the right side. Now for left side, gy inverse, I can write here gy inverse is nothing but y inverse g. So x y inverse g, using this figure I can write g x y inverse, and using associative property I can write here x y inverse operation g is equal to g x y inverse, and what is this? This is the same result as we want, as our need. So thus we can say, from here we can say x y inverse is an element of H, and we know x is an element of H, y is an element of H, and we prove that x y inverse belongs to H, therefore H is a subgroup. In this way we can prove this is a subgroup, and this subgroup is known as center of the group. Next, the same group using same tactics but defining some different way, in a different way. Say here G is a group, A is an element, and related to this A element we try to derive a set in such a way this set is related with A, and its elements are such that this is the element, all those elements of G X such that X belongs to G, all those elements of G which commutes with this A element, means that is A operation X is equal to X operation A. Means if this element commutes with this is a member of this one. If this member commutes with this is a member of this one. If this element does not commute with this, then it will not be a member of this one. And this is known, this set we will prove that it is a subgroup. It is a subgroup. And this set, this subgroup is known as normalizer of A, this element A. Similarly, we can find normalizer of B, normalizer of C, any elements of G. We can find normalizers of each and every element if it exists. So, this is a set which we want to prove, again subgroup. The same tactics, same philosophy we will use here, that first of all we should prove that this is non-void. This set is non-void. And for this, let E belongs to G, and naturally this is identity element of G. So A is an element of G, and A operation E is equal to E operation A. Holds good, because these two are the members of G, and closure property holds good and identity property holds good. So these two members exist and are equal. Therefore, from this we can say E belongs to NA. this Na possesses the identity element, and again I can say identity element, this element belongs to Na. It means Na is non-empty, non-void. Na is non-void. Now, if it is non-void, it means, let us suppose, let X and Y be two elements belongs to Na. These are two elements belongs to Na, and again the same philosophy, same practice. XY belongs to Na. It means if we are able to prove XY inverse belongs to Na, then Na will be a subgroup. So our target is to prove XY inverse belongs to Na. Or if XY inverse belongs to Na, it means we have to prove A operation XY inverse is equal to XY inverse operation A. If we are able to prove this one, then this result will show that XY inverse belongs to Na, and this will be a subgroup. So our target is to this one. Again, since X and Y belongs to Na, it means X belongs to Na implies A X is equal to X A, and Y belongs to Na implies AY is equal to Y A. These two elements belongs to Na. Therefore, this holds, this possesses. Now, we can start with any result. Start with this. Again, I am using the same practice. A operation Y inverse on both sides. Operate it with Y inverse on both sides is equal to AY, YA. Y A, and using inverse operation, inverse element operated by this one, we will get this. And I am writing this straightforward the result. Y inverse A will be equal to associative property, identity, etc. We can use all them. Y inverse A is equal to, this is your identity, and AY inverse. And this result shows that Y inverse belongs to Na. And Y inverse belongs to Na, it means we are able to prove X belongs to Na, Y belongs to Na, and we prove that Y inverse belongs to Na. So, again, the same practice. X belongs to Na means this is the result. I need to prove this result. So Ax operated Y inverse is an element belongs to Na. So I am operating it with A operation Y inverse. So, using associative property X, Y inverse, here straightforward I got this result. But here AY inverse, and I need to shift, however, I need to shift this Y inverse towards this side. So, X operation A operation Y inverse, and this is the result. We know AY inverse is equal to Y inverse A. So, writing here, instead of this, Y inverse A, and thus I can say using associative property, I can say xy inverse operation A, and this is the result which we want, xy inverse. And this holds, it means xy inverse is a member of NA. Thus we are able to prove x and y both belongs to NA, and we proved that xy inverse belongs to NA, therefore NA is a subgroup, and this subgroup is known as normalizer of A. Similarly, we can find normalizer of B and C and any other element of the group. So this is the result. And the third one, is little bit different, but pattern is same. G is a group and H is a subgroup. G is a group and H is a subgroup. We derive a set T such that its elements are also belongs to G, X such that X belongs to G, but these are the elements. These are the elements which commute with H, means XH is equal to HX. And this T will also be a subgroup. Again with the same tactics, first of all we should prove that T is non-empty. T possesses some element. What we have to do? E is the easiest one. E, we know EH is equal to HE, always. E belongs to G. So, this holds means E belongs to T. And E belongs to T, it means T is non-empty. T possesses some element. Say X and Y, let X and Y belongs to X and Y belongs to H, and if we are able to prove X Y inverse belongs to H, then X Y belongs to T. X Y belongs to T, and if we are able to prove X Y inverse belongs to T, then T will be a subgroup. It means what we need to prove, X Y inverse H is equal to H X Y inverse. It means our target is to prove this one. Again with the same tactics, since X belongs to T, XH is equal to HX, X belongs to T, and Y belongs to T, imply YH is equal to HY, both way. And with the same tactics, let us start with here with this result using Y inverse YH, and Y inverse is equal to Y inverse HY and Y inverse. I can write straightforward now Y inverse H using associative property, identity, etc. So thus we can say Y inverse belongs to T. Y inverse belongs to T. Now with this result, using Y inverse XH is equal to Y inverse HX, and this Y inverse X, Y inverse XH, X H is equal to Y inverse H X, and Y inverse H is nothing, Y inverse H is nothing but H Y inverse. So X and Y inverse X H is equal to this. I can write Y inverse X or X Y inverse H is equal to H X Y inverse. X and Y both are the element of H. So with the use of closure property, I can write this one, and this shows that this holds good, and this holds good. It means x by inverse belongs to T, and thus x belongs to T, y belongs to T, x y inverse belongs to T. It means T is a subgroup of group G. Thank you. For the next time, I will take cosets. Thank you. Thank you to all.